Okay, welcome back to another video on the new anime discussion channel. Thank you guys for supporting the recent videos. As always, I really appreciate it. For today's video, I had a pretty interesting idea. We're gonna be reacting to a list of the top 10 best villains in anime. Now, this is a list made by Screen Rant, so you know it's gonna be crazy. And yeah, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so this is a list of the best villains in anime. I don't know if it's just shown in anime, but I'm assuming they're talking about every single anime in this list. So at number 10, we have Cell from Dragon Ball Z. And honestly, that's not a bad pick. Cell was a great Dragon Ball villain. I mean, from Cell, we got to see a lot of character development from pretty much every single character. And we also got to see a lot of stupid stuff, like, for example, Goku throwing him a senzu bean. But if not for Cell, we really wouldn't have gotten to see Gohan's true potential. I know that Dragon Ball Super is coming out relatively soon, so we're going to see some more of that in the near future, but I'm not mad at Cell. He's a great villain, and I think my favorite thing about Cell is how, rather than him just going, oh, I'm going to go Super Saiyan level of strength, he kind of had to absorb people to do that. He went from level to level, and he eventually got to the point where he could fight Goku and Z fighters. Cell didn't just get to the point where he was off of just training for a little bit. He had to actually grind, he had to get stronger, and he had to absorb people, and I love that. But yeah, Cell was definitely a good villain. He made every single side character, every single main character come together and work. Like, we even got to see Tien Shenhan do something cool against him. I just love that. Number 10, I don't gotta talk about that. I mean, that's a decent pick. Would he be in my top 10? Probably not, but I still think it's a good pick. They say right here, created for the purpose of being the perfect warrior, this Dragon Ball Z villain stands in the 10th place among Ranker fans. With over 19,700 votes, Cell is often considered to be one of the most powerful villains in the show. As his name suggests, Cell is made up of other powerful character cells, making him an ultimate fighting machine. That is true. A true villain through and through, Cell's personality was ruthlessly sadistic and combined elements of the other main characters' own personalities, making him cunning and confident. With an ultimate goal of becoming perfect, it is even revealed in the show that even Goku himself wouldn't have been able to take on Cell and win. Yeah, Cell's a pretty good pick. I'm not mad at that. At number 9, we have King Bradley from Full Metal Alchemist, and I'm not mad at that. King Bradley, I gotta say, when I was watching Full Metal Alchemist for the first time, I don't know if it was just me, but I was not expecting for this guy to be a villain. I just wasn't. He genuinely seemed like, I don't know, like a Master Roshi type of character, someone who's really strong. You're not expecting to come out and literally be evil. But the sin of, I'm pretty sure was greed or wrath. Yeah, it was wrath. This dude is crazy. What we've seen him do on the show felt like a true villain. And his origin story, with him being a test subject to create the Philosopher's Stone, or part of that experiment, he had a great background story, or a great origin story. He was gold. I think my favorite moment from Fullmetal Alchemist, as far as this guy goes, King Bradley, is when he's fighting greed, and the person who, or my bad, he's not fighting greed. He's fighting, I think his name was Lee, and Lee goes into his blind spot because this guy is wearing an eye patch, and then he goes ahead and takes his eye patch off because he doesn't actually need it, and he just starts boxing it. Yeah, Wrath. Like they say right here, when enraged, King Bradley truly lives up to his name of Wrath. Definitely, that's facts. I'm not mad at that as a top 10. I can definitely see that. Despite his identity as Wrath, Bradley is often considered more compassionate and gentlemanly than his fellow villains, but this works to make him all the more misleading. Facts. I was not expecting for this guy to be evil. Yeah, King Bradley is a great pick for sure. At number 8, we have Doflamingo. All I'm gonna say is, if you don't think Doflamingo is a good villain, you had to have been watching One Piece with your eyes closed. When we think about a villain, a lot of anime don't actually make the character out to be a villain. They're just trying to go against the main character. So for example, I don't know, Sasuke was a minor villain of Naruto, but when you compare the things that Sasuke did to Doflamingo took over an entire country, enslaved the majority of the people there by turning them into toys and having them do work for him. He created the smiles, or he helped manufacture the smiles. He was in ties with Kaido. Doflamingo is crazy. He was willing to kill Law with no remorse. This is a kid that he raised, by the way. He literally raised this kid, and he's want to take him out of the world like it's nothing. Don't get fooled by his flashy and flamboyant appearance, as this One Piece villain is one of the most wicked of the bunch. While perhaps not standing out as the most powerful of this anime's villains, Doflamingo is a puppet master who was a major antagonist and influenced story events before ever first encountering the Straw Hats. Yeah, that's facts. I don't know if you guys remember, but Doflamingo was literally stalking this dude Luffy, trailing him, seeing what he was doing prior to him even learning what Haki was. So that's how you know he was a good villain. I mean, he was watching Luffy when Luffy didn't even know what a Buso was or what a Ken was. He didn't even know how to use his proof. I don't even think he had Gear 3rd around this time. Usually motivated by twisted reasons, underneath this character's eccentric and glamorous personality is a violent and bloodthirsty villain. Manipulative and evil, Doflamingo's alias as the Joker fits his character perfectly. Yeah, when you say the Joker, I'm not mad at Doflamingo having that title, man. He's always laughing. Usually when he's laughing, it's at messed up stuff. The most vivid memory I have of Doflamingo is when Law is giving him your traditional heroic speech about how Luffy's gonna come back and basically, you know, box with him, and Dofi doesn't care. He just straight up shoots him. He does not care whatsoever. Doflamingo is cold. I think he'd definitely make it to my top 10 villain list, not only because I'm a One Piece fan, but purely because this guy is an actual villain. Like, he did a lot of messed up stuff. Definitely a good pick. Not mad at that at all. Number 7, we have Frieza. And yeah, this is a Dragon Ball character I can get by. I definitely like this over Cell. And let me just explain myself before anybody says, Chris, why do you have Frieza over Cell? You know, I think it should be obvious. Frieza, like Doflamingo, enslaved a whole bunch of people, but Frieza did it on a scale that was completely ridiculous. Not only did Frieza enslave an entire civilization, he enslaved entire races. He made them convert to the Frieza Force. You don't simply take a powerful warrior race like the Saiyans and put them under your thumb, but Frieza, his father, Frieza was able to do that. And that's impressive. That is impressive as hell. Frieza really had this dude Bardock out here working like he was his slave. And that's truthfully what it was. Not only that, when Frieza wanted something, he took it. I mean, he did not care. When he wanted the Dragon Balls, he went to Namek. Anybody that didn't want to give them to him, dead. It did not matter to him. Women, children, men, his hands were rated E for everyone. He did not care. Frieza was a complete menace. The second Dragon Ball villain to appear, Frieza was ultimately the show's and Goku's biggest threat. Considered to be one of the most powerful beings in that universe, Frieza's civilized and refined demeanor only emphasizes his brutal and wicked nature. Another terrifying sadist, the voters of Ranker clearly love a through and through villain. Despite this character's appearance, Frieza was certainly one of the scary antagonists to cause chaos and destruction on audience's screen, earning him the rightful place on this list. Facts. Frieza has top 10 anime villains of all time. Yeah, I'd even say top 5, because Frieza, not only is he the GOAT of anime villains, or one of them at least, this dude was genuinely evil. Like, Frieza genuinely was evil. At number 6, we have Hisoka. And I'm not sure how to feel about that, because Hisoka, to me at least, is not really a villain. And you're saying Hisoka's a better villain than Frieza, and Doflamingo, Bradley, and Cell? Nah, I don't know if I can agree with that, but they say right here, while not exactly always considered a villain, Hisoka was nevertheless debated by anime fans as one of the most popular villains of all time. While there may be some debate over his status as a villain, Hisoka is undoubtedly one of the bigger antagonists of the Hunter x Hunter franchise. That is true. Another character often compared to the Joker at first glance, Hisoka is self-serving, and his love for spilling blood makes him the perfect murderous sociopath. Choices to save and assist the main characters on multiple occasions also add more depth to his character, making him more interesting to audiences. I'll give you that. If you want to say that him being more refined and kind of keeping to himself and not really telling the audience much information makes him more of a mysterious, cooler villain, I'll give you that. I'm not gonna say he's not a villain, because he has done some pretty messed up stuff, like that one time he killed Goto, Killua's bodyguard or his butler, and I thought that was pretty messed up. I'm not gonna lie, I did not expect Goto to die there, but he did. He's also a member of the Phantom Troop, and you don't just simply join the Phantom Troop. You don't just go, oh, I'm joining the Phantom Troop now. How do I get in? You don't do that. You have to be incredibly strong, and usually you have to be pretty damn evil. And Hisoka was both. So I personally want to put him on a top 10 list of villains, maybe antagonists, because there's a strong difference between an antagonist and a villain. Like I said earlier, I tried to say Sasuke was an antagonist, but I would not call him a villain personally. That's just me. Number 5, we have Dio Brando, and yeah, he was a good villain. Let's see, Dio went through how many generations? Let's see, 1, 2, 3 generations of Joestar. Anybody who's gone through 3 generations of protagonists is a good villain. I don't care what anybody says. I put him at maybe top 3. Dio may not be the best written villain in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but he's certainly the most well-known and the most iconic. Serving up plenty of unforgettable moments and easy meme material, there's little surprise that Dio is considered one of the greatest anime villains among fans. I agree. With an endless ambition for power, Dio seriously lacks any empathy or morality. A typical villain in that aspect, Dio excelled as the main antagonist of the series. Fact. Honestly, every single time I saw Dio on the screen and my first time watching JoJo, I was scared. I was genuinely afraid that some of my favorite characters would die. I did not expect Kage to go there and die, because JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Stardust Crusaders was not an anime where you had main characters going in and passing away. I'm pretty sure the only one that I was maybe a little bit worried about dying a couple times was Avdol, because they kind of faked his death out. They all juked us with that, but aside from that, they all survived. I don't think any of them died. When Stardust Crusaders starts and Polnareff loses a hand, Avdol straight up dies, Iggy gets killed, Kakyoin gets donated. Nobody expected that. You did not expect that. I did not think that was gonna happen. That's 4 Stardust Crusaders that are already either injured or literally dead. I was not expecting that. I genuinely thought that Jotaro had a solid chance at dying. He was definitely a great villain, although there is some stuff I don't understand about him, like how come he didn't use any of his vampire abilities against Jotaro, but aside from that, he's a great villain. At number 4, we have Sosuke Aizen. okay, this is interesting, because usually Sosuke Aizen would be at least top 3. So they told me there are 3 anime villains that are better than Aizen. Listen, I'm not exactly the biggest fan of Bleach. Like, I love the anime, but I don't love it as much as I love Naruto or One Piece. But a villain who wrote out the main character's entire life being at 4, I don't know. As a main villain in the Bleach series, Aizen's charisma and intelligence are what makes him stand out as one of the anime's greatest villains. Born incredibly strong, Aizen craved someone who would eventually challenge him, and that came in the form of the main character Ichigo. Calm and polite, his character rarely showed signs of distress and always seemed to have every situation under his control. This makes the impact of the story around his character later on all that more satisfying. Yeah, Aizen was a great villain. When him and Gin became Rancars, or at least joined the side of the Rancars, I was not expecting that personally. I didn't really see any signs to that happening prior to him actually doing it. And Hyoka Suigetsu? Yeah, I didn't see that coming either, but it makes perfect sense. If there's a Shikai for pretty much anything, Hiraku has a Bankai and a Shikai that's literally just a play on shadows and like an ocean. Why can't there be one that controls the senses? I mean, we know Shinji has one like that, so yeah, not surprising that Aizen had that. Still, I was not expecting it. Or I'd say Aizen is definitely top 4 anime villains, 100%. So I'm not mad at this placement, but I am interested in seeing who they do for 3 characters better than him. So number 3, we have Light Yagami. Okay, that's actually pretty interesting take. Wow, I was not expecting that. And this guy's definitely a villain. As both main protagonists and also villain of Death Note, Light is one of the most interesting characters in not just anime but also television. A natural genius who's constantly praised by those around him, he starts his journey with arguably moral intentions. However, his strong sense of justice becomes warped as the series progresses. Soon becoming corrupted by his own power, Light goes from killing criminals to developing a god complex. As the series goes on, he grows more and more ruthless and remorseless, writing him off as a full-on villain. Yeah, Light was definitely a really good villain. I really can't argue with that. I enjoyed every single moment the guy was on the screen. I loved how this might sound messed up, I love the scene where he actually killed his father, because it just goes to show this dude was not a hero. I watched Death Note, I saw him literally killing human beings, and I still was like, okay, you know, it's just kind of like a, you know, your average shonen anime. He's just doing what's right. It might not be the best way to do it, but he's killing criminals. And then this guy killed his own dad, and that's when I knew that's when I knew how damn evil Light was. It's how messed up you have to be to kill your own father. Yeah, that's one of my favorite moments in the series, because it, for me, shows the transformation of him being this regular kid who had good intentions but not the greatest means of doing it, to somebody who's literally full-on evil. I don't know how to say it. The guy was just evil in the head. Light is definitely a great villain. Top 3, I can't be upset at that, I'm not gonna lie. Number 2, we have Modera Uchiha. Okay, this is who I was expecting at 1. When I thought about 1, I was like, okay, it's gonna be Modera, 100%. So Modera at 2, I don't know, it was gonna be at number 1, but due to its long-running nature and multiple series to date, the Naruto franchise produced plenty of great anime villains. Some of the best anime villains, to be honest. Often considered one of the best in the series, Uchiha was a villain who fans found interesting due to his cool, dominating personality and unique villain origin. Another character who started out as one piece but ended up becoming a villain through merciless acts, Uchiha has a lot more depth than most villains. Yeah, Modera's backstory and the fact that it all ties together and makes sense even in the present of Naruto, even in Boruto, it all kind of fits together. One thing that I love about Naruto is the way things that happened generations ago during Hashirama's age, or not even Hashirama, Indra and Ashura's age, can come back and tie together to the end of Shippuden, the start of Boruto, the current stage of Boruto. The precedents set by Hashirama and Modera that have continued to be seen, like for example, Tobirama with the Uchiha police force, the way in which he was, I'm gonna just be honest, directly racist toward the Uchiha clan. That even stuck towards the end or beginning of Naruto Shippuden. That's why Itachi, you know, had to end up slaughtering the entire clan. What I'm trying to say is the beef that Modera held with Hashirama that eventually got settled by him actually leaving the newly formed Leaf Village, it stuck. That's how much of an impact Modera had. Generations after he was quote-unquote dead, you watch the series, you know what I mean. Whenever someone said the name Modera Uchiha, it was immediately followed by the line, but he was supposed to be dead, because everybody knew about the legendary ninja, Modera Uchiha. Everyone. Modera was just as known as Hashirama. I would actually die on that hill. Yeah, Modera is a great villain. I love how he reflects with Sasuke in the current, or I guess I should say, end of Shippuden, and yeah. I'm scared though. Who is at number 1? At number 1, the best anime villain. We have Pain. This is hard. This is hard. I'll be honest, I don't think that Pain is the best anime villain, dude. I'm sorry. I mean, just looking at this, and I just can't, even above Modera, I just cannot put Pain above Modera. I can't. Pain was a great villain. I mean, his origin story with Jiraiya and Nagato, Konan, all of them, it's a great backstory, and I definitely love it. I love his design. I think he is a really cool villain overall, but the best? No. If I had to say who I thought the best anime villain was, it's either got to be Modera or Aizen, dude. I'm sorry, but Pain, yeah, I think Pain is personally just a little bit ridiculous. I mean, he's a great villain. He's a great villain, but the greatest anime villain of all time? I don't think so. That's just my personal opinion, though. If you guys think I'm wrong and you genuinely believe that Pain is the best Naruto villain of all time, I can't get mad at you for that. I think he's a good villain as well. The best is, that's a pretty big claim to make. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Later.